Jesus is a warrior. You might be thinking, wait a minute, Father, I think you got the wrong Sunday. Did you mentally check out while the deacon was proclaiming the gospel just a few moments ago? Because I'm pretty sure Jesus never said, I am a good warrior or a good 5-star general, but rather, I am the good shepherd. But you know what gives it away? That deep down, Jesus has a warrior's heart. He says today that despite the wolves that attack, he will not run away like false shepherds or hired hands, but says instead, I will lay down my life for the sheep. Ever hear of the phrase, no man left behind? Military strategists know that no man left behind is a critical part of military morale. Today, the U.S. Army Rangers, the Soldier's Creed, Airmen's Creed, Marines adopt very similar language in their creed, and they said, I will never leave a fallen comrade to fall into the hands of the enemy. I will never leave a fallen comrade. Leave no man behind. But the reality is, people do get captured. People get lost on patrol. People go AWOL. But for a soldier caught in these situations, this thought remains at the forefront because my team, my squad, won't leave me behind. They will come back for me. And it's this knowledge that helps soldiers endure torture, helps fear not overtake them as they are about to engage in battle or when they simply get lost. It's because they know someone will return for them. It's also the same for us in the spiritual life. Good Shepherd Sunday reveals the heart of Jesus who is willing to defend his own. It is what distinguishes Jesus from the hired man who sees a wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf catches and scatters them. Because Jesus is all in. He's not going to let anybody be left behind. He will go and search for that sheep. And when a wolf approaches, he's not going to run. He stays behind to defend every last one of us, even if it means till death. He leaves no man, no woman behind. Sometimes I think we in the church, we sanitize the image of Christ. Yes, Jesus today does describe himself as the good shepherd, but beneath that image of Jesus cradling the sheep in his arms lies a warrior's heart. And it is this underlying thought that should give us courage as Catholics. Because even if we see oncoming wolves about to attack us because of our beliefs, we have Jesus who defends us. Even if we have wandered from the flock or lost in our life, we have Jesus who searches out for us. Even if we have listened to various voices in the world which have led us down paths away from God and his church, Jesus' voice calls us back. All because, as a good shepherd, he will not leave anyone behind. That is why people all throughout human history have been willing to follow the good shepherd's voice till the end. They see what great lengths Jesus is willing to go for us, such that when they are called to do the same in imitation of him, they too possess an otherworldly courage that gives them strength. A recent movie called Infidel, starring Jim Caviezel, the actor who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ, follows an outspoken American Christian journalist, Doug Rawlings, who was invited by a friend to go on national television to speak out about recent militant uprisings happening in their part of the world. And so Rawlings' wife, Claudia, is hesitant about him going, and she kind of struggles a little bit with her faith, but she pleads with her husband that he goes, whatever you do, knowing that he's an avid and strong Christian, don't preach. You're in Arab territory here, don't preach. So Doug decides to go. However, after going on national Arab TV in which the question of faith arises, one of the reporters says, well, we believe in Jesus and Mary too. Jesus was a messenger of God. However, Doug, played by Jim Caviezel, he stares in this interviewer, and for a moment he hesitates and he says, I can't be silent. So he says, well, I believe Jesus was more than a messenger of God. Jesus is God. And this preaching sets off an uproar and leads to his kidnapping by the Iranian regime, and he was found guilty on trumped-up charges and is sentenced to death by a firing squad. And as Doug is before them, one of the army leaders turns to him and says, repent, brother. Accept Allah's words and proclaim Muhammad as his messenger. Looking straight at the firing squad with guns pointed towards him, Doug responds, no. Doug couldn't deny what he knew to be true, even as the wolves surrounded him, because he intimately knew the heart of the Good Shepherd. His strength was found in him, and deep down, whether it resulted in his physical release or rescue, Doug knew that he was already saved by a Good Shepherd who wouldn't leave him behind. And we may not have guns pointed at us, but today in our country, we have people who say, let's use Title X funding so that it can contribute to the killing of millions and millions of unborn children in our lives. We have a crisis at the border where immigrants are mistreated. We need people to stand up and say, despite my friendships, despite whatever it is, I need to speak up because this is true. And the Good Shepherd would not remain silent and lead others astray. Just as the Good Shepherd lays down his life for his sheep, his voice calls us to do the same in ways that we don't expect. And unless we are really attuning our ears to hear him through prayer, through the sacraments, through Mass, it is so critical because we can be led astray. Yet despite the willingness of most people to turn a blind eye or to drown out his voice with other voices, the Good Shepherd still pursues us recklessly. Mary, a typical high school student in the suburbs of Denver, was one of those struggled with her identity. She experienced bullying, ultimately wanted to fit in, and questioned her belief in God, like many of the teenagers I encounter. But that changed for her 22 years ago on April 20th, 1999, because Mary had a habit of going to the library to study every day during a lunch period with a friend. However, on that April morning, sitting in art class right before lunch hour, she heard this voice, almost like this voice in her head that said, leave, study somewhere else today. Later on, sitting with a friend at the coffee shop, she saw Columbine High School flash across the TV screen as she learned in horror of the school shooting that took place while she was off campus. And then she began to question, why was I rescued from this, Lord? Why did you allow this evil to happen? And despite all the things that people told her that said God had a plan for her, she couldn't accept it, and so she started drinking, going to parties, looking for other things for fulfillment. And by senior year in high school, she said she finally reached rock bottom and lost all hope. It was in those moments, she said, that I felt like I couldn't go on in life, that suddenly one of my friends invited me to the Catholic Church at St. Francis Cabrini. There she met a youth minister, Kate, who started telling her about a God who passionately loved and pursued her, and that he had a plan. And Mary realized that all throughout her life, it was God's love that was missing. And she would later say, not only did God lead me out of Columbine that day, he was leading me home. He came back for me. Mary Gianna became a Catholic at the Easter Vigil on March 30th, 2002. And just 2 years ago, she took the name of Sister Mary Gianna, becoming a Franciscan contemplative nun. You see, Jesus never leaves anyone behind. There are more than just physical wolves that try to attack us, but the more dangerous are the spiritual ones that spew out lies that say there is happiness and fulfillment in that intimate relationship outside of marriage. Just leave. Or turn to alcohol, turn to drugs, the internet, or constantly focus on yourself or whatever brings you fulfillment. But even if we have fallen prey to these voices, the Good Shepherd also possesses a warrior's heart that fights for us, for our souls till the end. And if there's anything that we can get out of today's celebration, it is exactly that. The Good Shepherd calls out to us. He reminds us that in a constantly changing world, the one thing that never, ever changes, as he says, I am the Good Shepherd and I love you. My sheep hear my voice. I know them and they follow me. I will fight for you and I will never, ever leave you behind.